maybe, or 3 editions ago at the Short Film Festival. We had
Hello, we have a guest.
I was gonna say we had a guest.
We have you cut this part out.
Hi there.
Hi, and it's been a while, hasn't it, Peter?
It has
For
been a
Talk on
very
the
long
Table.
time.
Like over a year since we did one of these. The last episode was the hat episode.
Was it?
Yeah, and ever since then, people have been dropping suggestions in the hat, asking us when we're gonna do Talk on the Table.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now. There we
Right
go.
now. Okay, and welcome to a Talk on the Table.
Yes, featuring a guest.
Yeah, and who are you?
So hi everyone, gentlemen. Thank you for the invite.
No
My
problem.
name is Sebastien Simon. I'm a Busan resident, proud and happy. A film professor, a film festival programmer, a filmmaker, a Frenchman.
We need lots more French people in Busan just to sell their Paris baguettes. Or their films.
Yeah.
Better.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Now, after high school in Alsace, anyway, very near Germany, I studied cinema in Paris
Okay.
for 4 years. And I lived in Paris for 10 years, from 2001 until 2011. So for the first 4 years, I studied cinema. The next 6 years, I worked as a freelance editor, like video editing. While I was there, doing just that as a job, I had the chance to edit a few short films or documentaries made by Asian film students when they were studying cinema in Paris for a few years, right? Some of them were Koreans, and my very first actual editing job after finishing university was to edit a feature-length documentary called Korean Don Quixote, Lee Hee-se. So the main protagonist of the docu, the character of the docu is called Lee Hee-se. He's a South Korean man who was a political exile in France, the filmmaker. She's from Busan, Che Hyunjang. She was my classmate in film school.
All right.
She had that grant from the big film festival, BIF, to complete that docu, and she asked me to edit it. So that was my very first job, but it also was my immediate introduction to Korea, like recent Korean history.
So that was the first time you went to Korea.
And in 2006, yeah, because the film was financed by the big film festival, there was the condition was that we have to finish the film for the following year, and it screens, however good or bad it would be.
Wow, what did you think of Busan back in 2006? What was that like?
It
A
was-
young Frenchman starting out on his career, coming to
The party
Asia.
central.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. For sure, it was an absolute cultural shock, like immediate. But for me, it was the first time to be at a festival, and what a festival it is. So especially at the time, right, 2006, it was super big. So first time in Korea, first time in Busan, first time at any festival on the beach. So you would go get your badge. I'm like, oh wow, cool! I got a badge, man. And I go on the beach, I guess, take a few pictures, and there's a school, like a high school class on, I guess, their day out on the beach. They're like, oh, can we have a picture all together? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Of
right.
course, you're the token foreigner.
Please, yeah, right, by all means. But
Yeah.
and then, oh, you're a guest. I'm like, well, I have a badge, so yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Hi.
Now,
So it
if
was,
you're a celebrity.
It was something. But then I had planned to do a little holiday while going first at the festival for 10 days, then visiting Korea. But I ended up staying in Busan for a month and a half afterwards.
wow.
Wow.
Because I met that French guy who lived in Dalmagie at the time.
Yeah.
And he's this inline skating, like stuntman, video maker. He doesn't live here anymore, but at the time he was located there. We made a video together in Mujo Resort. So it was an absolute like bonkers trip, but super unforgettable. So his name is JeanYves Blondo.
Yes.
He literally invented he called it an armor, like it's a literal physical body armor where on each joint and on the hands and on the knees and on the chest plate he would have like inline skating wheels,
Wow.
So it allows him to literally go do downhill super fast. I think his record is 120 kilometer per hour sort of speed thing.
That's pretty.
And it was featured. Some of his stunts, I guess, were featured in a movie with Jackie Chan called Chinese Zodiac,
Okay.
and also in a movie with Jim Carrey called Yes Man.
I told you, my foot caught a nail! What?
In 2012, I started to work at this Busan International Short Film Festival here, and one of my jobs, one of my tasks was to make the official trailer of the festival every year. Up until 2 years ago, I decided to just pass the baton for that. But that 2012 official trailer of the Busan International Short Film Festival is a video with JeanYves as a sort of downhill action stunt video as a trailer. So you could find it on the YouTube channel of the Short Film Festival, probably.
Have you produced any feature-length films, or have you worked? What
Not as a
feature-length films
producer,
have you?
no. As an
Or what-
editor.
Have you sat and shot any feature-length films?
Again, that I've edited, yeah. But not as a director or certainly not producer, but no,
That's
that-
a dream.
that remains this unattainable dream situation.
You saw one of the trailers for the Busan Film Festival, and the one with the feather. I liked one of the short films that you worked on. I saw what was it, The Troubadour?
Okay.
The Troubled
Oh, yeah.
Troubadour, yeah.
Troubled Troubadour.
Yes.
Just that towards the beginning you have canoe on the railroad track, and just
Yeah.
pushing off. He had someone kind of rowing his boat, but they're on a railroad track. That was
Thanks.
an interesting visual image there.
Yeah. Does that come from
want-
a story?
But I mean, symbolically, I suppose it's like that. How do you say in English? Sharon, the boatman of the
Oh yeah.
of the river
Sharon,
of the
Sharon.
Sharon. Okay.
Sharon, yes.
So the boatman, like the transition of the soul
Okay.
thing. But frankly speaking, originally, this is co-directed with
Yes.
an American friend called Forrest Ian Etzler. So originally we thought, okay, this location is amazing, that unused train track in Dalmaji, Songjiang. So okay, let's use it. Let's do some sort of a Stand By Me, walking along train track sort of film, But so okay, at first they're walking. Is it really interesting? I don't know. What if we find those sort of weird little machine, like old train style? Like in Marine City, there was this, I forgot the name, this place where you could rent some sort of a sailing boat maybe, and they had like Native American style canoes, dry dock,
that's-
like there, like it was
Wow.
in front of Bay 101. Now
Like
it's
it's-
destroyed. It doesn't
Oh.
exist. Some sort of
Yeah.
but they had their office, and then in their parking lot they had those two canoes. It's like, man, this is beautiful.
That would be nice.
But they
yeah.
didn't allow us to rent them or borrow them, obviously. It's like, okay, let's not touch those things. So, but the design of the boat that was made is somewhat based on some of those. It was certainly a funny thing on set, because suddenly we would put the equipment in the boat, push it to wherever we would shoot whatever. Also those children that you mentioned, right? They were like, oh my God, what is this, So suddenly we could put them in the boat, just push them to the location. They were like, oh, it's an adventure. Yeah, it was quite
Yeah, I'm
funny.
sure they really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the shooting, to be frank, was difficult. It's a crooked location.
Yeah.
They're children. Everyone is sort of. It's a quick
Fancy.
shooting.
Yeah.
You have foreigners, Koreans, languages are sort of confusing. It went fine enough, but the first day was like, oh, why is it so hard suddenly? Most of us came from Seoul by car. So we just arrived. We slept next to the train track, but it was certainly a bit harder than we thought, the shooting itself. But the film, I'm glad you liked it, for sure.
Yeah. What kind of films would you like to do in the future, or in the next 5 years or so?
I mean, for example,
Any particular genre? genres?
I do have a coming of age kind of travel story with children in mind.
Children again.
But this one is actually somewhat based on my memories of taking airplane alone as a child.
Wow.
It wasn't like long flight, like from Germany to Switzerland. So, in between my two parents, my mother would put me in a flight. The stewards and stewardess, they take care of children like this until they deliver the child at the arrival to the other parent. So I wasn't exactly alone, of course, but still without parents, without anyone. And I can't really remember other moments like this from being 6, 7, 8 maybe, where I'm not at school, not in a house with parents or siblings, not at some sports club from the district, right, with friends and coaches. Somewhat alone, right? And it's still
you're
taking
on your own, but you're so young.
Yeah, right. So it's still somewhat vivid. I don't have clear memory of what happened, just taking a flight, but still the impression of being in an adult world, not understanding much, I suppose, but already kind of wanting to seeing this as an adventure. So essentially, to be honest, an adventure movie, but to the scale of a child flying in an airplane, right?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. You had a lot of experience doing films in Korea. Have you had any experience doing films in another country?
Spain, but with a Korean crew.
I
can't escape.
You can't escape Korea. Whatever.
But when was that?
2014 near Madrid.
Okay.
Shooting some. So the project became a short film, a short documentary film about this Korean sportswoman. I forgot her name, but she is handicapped, and it's a bicycle racing of handicap, competitions. And she was doing this. I think it was a World Cup somehow but it was near Madrid, and so that Korean crew was following her, and I was also involved, pretending to speak Spanish and knowing my way around Madrid. The only thing I could really bring to the team was that I'm good at directions, and so I wouldn't get lost in Madrid. They were like, "Where should we go, Sebastian?" It's this way. But that short film was directed by this Korean filmmaker called Chong Yun-chol. If you look up, he's a feature film director, not a film student or anything, an outspoken person, at this TV show, and they talk a strong personality in the industry somehow. But it was made with that team of another short film festival. Somehow they accompanied him, and they had produced the film to be featured at the festival. So it was funny to be with that gang. The festival is called the Seoul Yeongdongpo International Extreme Short and Image Film Festival. It's a complex name.
Mouthful.
The nickname is SESIF, SESIFF. So I've been doing a pre-selection for them since then, reviewing 200 short films and picking a few, and then the main programmer chooses the rest. So it's been funny to have those sort of snowballing effect, kind of a job leads to another, and 10 years on, I'm still here. I thought I would be here for 1 year, maybe in 2012.
Right. Yeah.
Having left Paris, being here as a nomadic filmmaker, I guess. I'm gonna make 1 year of this, and then I'll be bankrupt somehow. And then
but
it hasn't
somehow
happened.
you keep going on.
I mean, I am bankrupt, but I'm still here.
Yeah. Speaking of still being here, what are you working on now?
Well, since 2020, I've started to teach film editing at Dongso University here. So they have two campuses.
Yeah, campuses is probably what people say. If it sounds Latin, so.
Right.
But it's campuses.
Locations.
Campuses, yeah.
And it's not the Centum location. Yeah. That's for the Korean film students. I mean the Sasangu location. But anyway, so film editing. So right now the semester is finishing. The students are like, Professor, what should we do? I don't know. What should you do?
Make a movie.
Probably make a movie. As a film student, late April, early May, the Busan Short Film Festival happened. So that was good because it's perfectly at the midterm exam week. So you're like, there's a bit of good timing here where the university can be put a bit to the side for a week and a half, and then the festival happens, and then
the students get experience.
Actually, yeah.
You know, and they also get to have some of their films maybe showcased, right?
Well, actually,
or do they just do intern work there?
No,
promoting other films.
Most of the students, we brought them to like go see a program of short film, like find out what happens in those other countries that make films. While all this is happening, I was also making my own 3D short film.
Yes, I think Danny and I watched part of that, if not all of it. The one about the past and the present merging somewhat.
Yeah. Plus, one day, hopefully, I get to show it finished in 3D in an actual theater. It's something else. So
I was just
this is the most immediate thing, urgent thing to finish and be able to show someday. Yeah.
Trying to be careful with what I say.
Do you think you would have been as successful as you are if you haven't been an expat? If you haven't got out of France, and if you were just a filmmaker in France?
I don't know. Frankly speaking, the last 2 years when I was in Paris, so 2010-11, I did feel like I was losing a bit of my interest for filmmaking or passion, or some of my passion. Nothing was as exciting or new as those earlier collaboration. I was doing a lot of those, quick edit video thing. Like just nothing that I would really care about that much. And in 2011, I almost I was this close to be hired to edit a feature-length film, of cinema, right? And it had to be done in Kathmandu somehow. Like it was this French Nepal co-production thing. Like, okay, cool. They hired someone else. It's all fine, but I realized that the project didn't matter as much for me. What mattered was I wanted to go somewhere else. It's not about disliking Paris, of course. It's more I wanted to try somewhere else. So I honestly don't know, of course, if it would have been different, or of course, but it feels to me like it certainly was a kick to the butt kind of moment. I cannot ignore that desire to leave and try somewhere else.
Right.
So it would have been different, but I don't know. For sure, I also at the same time thought that I wanted to sort of move on from just editing and edit what I direct, I suppose. But
so much of cinema owes a great debt to pioneering French filmmakers. It was the medium, wasn't it developed? A lot of it was developed in France.
Lumière brothers. Yeah, sure.
Go way back.
Sure.
I mean, not just film, but also photography.
Right. No, of course. All those old. But it's interesting. Speaking of photography and those processes, 4 years ago, maybe, or 3 editions ago, at the Short Film Festival, we had a
we have a guest.
I was going to say we had a guest.
We have to cut this part out. So.
No, it's perfect. I can keep explaining. So we invited this French man called Roger Gonin. He worked for a very famous, very big short film festival in France, in Clermont-Ferrand. But he is a collector of magic lanterns.
Okay.
And so we invited him to the short film festival to perform with his magic lantern. So he had this double-lensed lantern where then you need 2 operators, and when one is being projected, the other one replaces the slide. So it was always 1, 2, 1.
So, don't you have? Oh, I was going to ask about your upcoming photo exhibit.
Oui. Yeah. So it started 2 days ago. So it started on June 4th it's going to be until July 3rd. So very near the yachting center, there is this Goun Museum of Photography, right? And they have 2 buildings, the main one, the actual museum, and then another one they call the art space. And this is sort of co-curated, co-organized by the French Language Institute, the Alliance Française of Busan. And so this exhibit is a collective exhibition called Bohemians. we are your environment. So it's sculpture, painting, photo, poetry, and 3 of the videos that I've co-directed with Forrest Etzler. So they screened the Troubled Troubadour. They screened 2 short docus that we made called The Urban Suite, which is a bit similar to that video, the stereoscopic video.
Yeah, he's going through the old buildings.
Yeah, right. Abandoned
like
building.
The dilapidated part of
Oh,
town.
yes.
And
I saw that a long time ago.
And so at the exhibition, they screened a 3rd film called Tetsu Kono's Crazy Routine.
Yeah, that one surprised me.
It's colorful, like I like all the pieces that they gathered. It's a kind of a colorful exhibition, I'll say. I'm glad they invited our films.
That would be great. Go there, check it out, and everything. So if you want to check some things out, please check our channel out, T&D Productions. We're back on with
A Talk on the Table.
A Talk on the Table. That's right. Also, don't forget to, if you like this, please give us a good
thumbs up.
Big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Please subscribe and get us out there.
And also check out our other channel, T&D Entertainment.
T&D Entertainment. We have the show Studio Cinema. Don't forget about Patreon, and don't forget Facebook. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord if you want to start a chat with us. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no,
It's been
that's
great.
Thank you for coming.
Really, I'd be curious to read comments and things like this. But thanks a lot for inviting me to be the one to reopen the season.
Yeah, with this almost local celebrity guest.
Huh.
Hey.
And a cat.
Well, till next time.
Till that next time,
I'm Peter.
I'm Danny.
And our guest today?
Our guest.
I am Sebastien.
All right. See you later.